What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, November 7th, 2025, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 16:28 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from here in the US and from overseas. So yesterday there was some type of a biological attack at the Andrews Air Force Base, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. Envelope containing a white powdery substance or white powder was opened at the base at the Air National Guard Readiness Building on the northeast side of the base, and it caused multiple people to become severely ill, and they were taken to the on-base hospital, the Malcolm Grow Hospital. This is extremely concerning. What makes this so concerning is that Joint Base Andrews, or Andrews Air Force Base, is used to move the president, the vice president, top military generals, and cabinet members around. Okay, so this is where the president takes off in Air Force One when he leaves to go places around the U.S., or if he's going overseas, he goes to Andrews, and then he boards either a doomsday plane if he's going overseas, or Air Force One. And so this was clearly an attempt to harm or kill the president or some VIPs, okay? Now, we're not hearing any details yet today about what exactly happened. All we know is that several people were hospitalized. There was a white powder that was released from an envelope at the Air National Guard Readiness Center, and then the military shut down the building where this envelope was opened and the adjacent connected building, and they quarantined the whole area. And then those sick people were taken to the hospital, probably service members, okay, and we're hearing that they were sent to the hospital at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time, okay? So this was a very fast-acting substance, possibly anthrax. It sounds a lot like anthrax, okay? A white powder. If you remember from the early 2000s, the anthrax letters that were sent out to Tom Daschle and a bunch of other VIPs and senators. So this is extremely serious. The media is not really talking about it. It could also be, dare I say, a false flag. You know, remember the PATRIOT Act and how we passed all these laws to enable domestic surveillance because of the threat of terrorism. Maybe they're trying to do that again now. I don't know, but this is extremely concerning. And this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert again. We had a U.S. missile detecting and tracking plane airborne over the Dakotas earlier this afternoon. We have a nuclear war command and control plane airborne over the Carolinas. And we just heard a tactical nuclear code probably coming from that plane. And then we had 2 B-52 nuclear bombers airborne over Louisiana. And interestingly, late last night, we had a U.S. Air Force VIP plane fly from D.C. all the way to Bolivia. It landed in La Paz. So this is very, very interesting. I'm not aware of any meetings that Hegseth has, or J.D. Vance, or Trump. Obviously, Trump's not going to be on this plane, but I don't know of any VIPs that are supposed to be going to Bolivia. Maybe Rubio, I don't know, but this is pretty suspicious to me. I think it's related to Venezuela. And we had another VIP plane from the U.S. fly from Georgetown, Guyana to Suriname, which is the country right next to Guyana, and Guyana is right next to Venezuela. Okay, so these could be the final briefings on the strikes on Venezuela right before they happen. And remember, last week, Trinidad and Tobago went under a state of emergency, and they called up their entire military to report to duty last Friday. So I think it's coming, guys. I think any day now, the U.S. is going to strike Venezuela. We know that the USS Gerald Ford passed through the Strait of Gibraltar earlier this week, okay, about 3 days ago. And that aircraft carrier can travel at 35 miles an hour. And from the Strait of Gibraltar to the Caribbean, it's about 4,000 miles. So if you do the math, that's roughly about 4 to 5 days. So it should be getting close to the Caribbean right now. It could be in the middle of the Atlantic right now, or maybe closer. They're not going to do anything until the Gerald Ford is in position, because they're going to need that support from the fighter jets, okay? We also had a lot of surveillance over the Baltic countries. Last night, we had a German military cargo plane land in Lithuania and a Swedish reconnaissance plane heavily patrolling the border of Lithuania and Latvia and Belarus. So heavily focusing on this area here. And then we also had this interesting flight in Romania last night. The Romanian Air Force was doing some kind of a search grid over the Carpathians near the Ukraine border. I don't know if they were looking for a Russian drone that violated their airspace, and maybe they were looking for the wreckage, but they were clearly doing a search grid here in this area of the tri-border region of Hungary, Ukraine, and Romania. Okay, very, very unusual. And the Senate last night narrowly rejected a proposal that would have required Congress to approve any U.S. military action against Venezuela. So that was 49 to 51. So it lost. The bill was killed in the Senate. The bill basically would have said that Trump needs permission from Congress to do anything against Venezuela. Well, that bill failed. All right, so that means Trump can do anything he wants in Venezuela. Maybe that's what Trump was waiting for, okay, before he does his big attack on Venezuela. And Poland is set to introduce a new military training program this month, the Defense Ministry said on Thursday. The quote-unquote always prepared program is part of wider plans to train 400,000 people in Poland in 2026. Poland's defense minister said the program, which he dubbed the largest defense training in Polish history, would be available to all Polish citizens, from primary school children to old age pensioners. So guys, 400,000 people is the number that Poland, that's what they want to hit. They want to train 400,000 Polish citizens in 2026 in survival, basics of shooting, and basic military tactics, basics of, survival in a World War III scenario. That is a big deal. And all the way from primary school age up to retirees. Okay, this free military training in Poland. So this is a huge sign that war is about to happen on the European continent. And NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said that NATO has surpassed Russia in ammunition production. He said yesterday that until recently, Russia was producing more ammunition than all NATO allies combined, but that is no longer the case. And the U.S. Congressional Budget Office was apparently hacked by a foreign actor, so that's pretty concerning. And earlier today, Trump met with the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, and he said that the main disagreement with Putin right now is that Russia doesn't want to stop fighting yet. He was asked whether there's going to be any peace treaty and what the obstacle to the peace treaties are. And he said the main issue right now is that Putin doesn't want to stop fighting. He also said that inflation is at a perfect number. I don't know if I agree with that. And he also said he's not sure how long the government shutdown will last. And he blamed Democrats, saying it's up to Democrats how long the shutdown will last. Okay, so this is pretty concerning, guys, because we're heading into the holiday season. And we know that 10% of flights will be canceled starting today at 40 major airports. So you know what's going to happen? All the remaining flights are going to go up in price, okay? So it's going to be very expensive to travel this holiday season for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for New Year's because of the government shutdown. You're going to be paying more to see your family because of this shutdown, all right? And that's not opinion, that's fact. Just give it a couple more weeks and you're going to see. So this is very bad. We're in a historic situation with this government shutdown. We're up to 38 days, the longest government shutdown ever in U.S. history. And it's not going to be good for our economy because you have tens of thousands of government workers that are no longer working. And those people would otherwise be contributing to our economy. All those government workers would have been getting paid the last 38 days. And they would have been spending money, okay, in their area where they live, taking their family out to dinner, buying fuel, shopping for groceries, things like that, buying extra things, presents, gifts, and now they're going to have to cut back because they're not getting regular paychecks, okay? So this is going to have a detrimental effect to our economy. And the U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said U.S. troops will remain in Romania, which is kind of odd because they've already left Romania. So I don't know what that really means. And U.S. senators demanded that Hungary stop buying Russian oil ahead of Trump's meeting with Orban, according to Bloomberg. And Poland and Romania have begun actively building a drone wall, according to the Associated Press. Warsaw and Bucharest are deploying MAROPS, a mobile air defense system already tested in Ukraine. The system can be mounted even on a pickup truck and is capable of detecting and shooting down drones using artificial intelligence to navigate when satellite or electronic communication is jammed. NATO reportedly plans to eventually deploy MAROPS along the entire eastern border of the alliance, as well as to protect critical infrastructure sites. And last night, North Korea launched a ballistic missile off of its east coast. According to South Korea, Japan reported that it fell outside of Japan's economic zone with no damage. And China's most advanced aircraft carrier, the Fujian, has entered service. This would be China's third aircraft carrier in service. The Fujian is equipped with electromagnetic launcher for planes. So that's what you see these weird things are here on this carrier. That's to launch fighter jets off the deck. That's like something out of Star Wars. Looks pretty crazy. And the U.S. is planning to establish a military presence at the Damascus Air Base to help in implementation of the security deal between Syria and Israel, according to Reuters. And the Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, said he has instructed the IDF to destroy and eliminate all terror tunnels in Gaza. So Israel's not done with Gaza. And Kazakhstan will reportedly be joining the Abraham Accords, and they will try to normalize their relations with Israel. And Pakistan's defense minister said peace talks with Afghanistan have collapsed, and we have a mark of the beast alert. Facebook plans to invest at least $600 billion in U.S. infrastructure over the next 3 years, mainly to build AI data centers as it pursues super intelligence. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to have these AI data centers, and then they're going to use that AI to spy on everybody and predict behaviors, and then they're going to implement that into the Mark of the Beast system. Okay? And the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has removed more than 24 U.S. generals and admirals in the last 9 months. Wow, that is a big deal. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with more breaking news. And until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.